Hi, and thank you for joining me for today's Junk Journal with Me episode. And this is Barbara from Vienna, Austria. And today we're going to be making another flip out pocket kind of thingy like you see here. And I'm making this out of 2 envelopes and a little bit of paper. And I'm using images from the Digital Collage Club. So this is your opportunity to make the exact same thing that I make if you so wish, because these are just downloads. I thought I would do something with downloads for a change, since this is something I don't normally do. So I thought you might appreciate being able to get the same images that I am using. So for today's spread, I'm doing something that I normally don't do, which is I really planned this spread. Usually I just kind of have one thing that I know I want to use and then go from there, but this time I actually had a plan and I actually prepared. So this envelope that you see right here is obviously not coffee dyed yet, but this was the prototype that I made so that I would know what I'm doing here in this video, which I also don't usually do. But I thought, let's just try to plan things for a change. And so I'm showing you here all the little pockets and everything that you get if you make this, if you follow my instructions that will follow here shortly. But I'm going to be using some coffee dyed envelopes. And by the way, if you're interested in seeing me or watching me how I coffee dye things, let me know in the comments. I've had one request. I don't do anything exceptional, but if you're interested in seeing how I do it, then I'm happy to show it to you in one of my future videos. So these are the 2 envelopes I am using. And so I'm following my prototype here, and so I'm going to turn the envelope around so that the opening is at the bottom. So that is the first step. And you see here on my prototype, this one part on the right actually has a tuck spot, on the left is closed shut. So that will be the first step of what we're going to do. So we have the envelope, we have the opening towards the bottom. And you're going to ask me for the size of these envelopes, but it doesn't matter. Your size of the envelopes doesn't matter as long as you have 2 that are the same. So use what you have. Don't go out buying new stuff. I'm sure you have envelopes laying around at home. So I folded this in half. So now automatically we have this tuck spot on the right side. And the one on the left we have to close. So I'm going to use my 3-in-1 glue, which is linked below. And I'm just going to shut that half. So I'm just gluing that 1/2. That was the first step. Easy, right? I promise you this is going to be easy, even though it maybe looked complicated at the beginning. So now we're going to fold this. So that is our front page of the little booklet. And now, since we want a top pocket as well, I'm just using a letter opener to just cut open that 1/2 on the right side. We're leaving the left side shut. So now we're going to open it up to the inside. And the next thing we're going to do is, you see this little tuck spot we have there. That's what we're going to work on next. So we're going to take our second envelope, which is exactly the same as the first one, and we're going to cut it right down the middle. So I'm taking my trim and scoreboard, which is also linked below. Can I just say that I'm linking almost everything I'm using here down below. So if you're interested in any of my supplies, just check out the description box on the bottom. You will find everything there, instead of me saying every time link below, link below. Maybe I should let you know what is not linked below. Okay, so now we've cut that in half, and I'm just gluing that part of the envelope because that is not holding up so well. So now we have this pocket and tuck spot. And you see here, it's standing out a little bit. So I'm just going to trim that side off a little bit more so that when we fold our little pocket, that won't stick out. Okay, that works better now. And you see here we also have a pocket on the left side here, so that means when we glue our envelope down, we're not going to glue the whole thing down, but we're just going to put glue on those 3 edges. Alright, so with that half of an envelope, we've created the tuck spot and a pocket on the left. The next step is on the right hand side. We have this other tuck spot and then this flip down with another tuck spot. So we have the second half of the envelope that we just cut, and we're gonna just attach that to the bottom of the right hand side of our first envelope. You see it just flips up like that. And we're going to glue just the right side and the bottom side of that triangle. But first, I almost forgot, I'm inking things up as usual. And I also ink the other parts up off camera because that is just too boring to watch. So glued that tuck spot on. And so now we have 2 tuck spots on the right side. And on my prototype, I also put a pocket by just cutting the right side open, but I left it because it's already too bulky, so I decided not to do that. So now for our little pull out thingy or flip out thingy, I don't know what you want to call it. I'm just going to use some coffee dyed paper, and actually I didn't plan on using this one, which has the flowers on the back, as it was actually like a letter writing paper, but it's fine. I'm just gonna go with it. And so what I did was I measured a little smaller than the height of my envelope, and I just cut it. And now I'm folding it back on itself one time, and then I'm gonna cut it just to be maybe half of an inch smaller, and I inked up all the edges. So we have 3 parts here, right, that will just open up like that. So the front one is shorter than the other 2 folds, and we're going to again just glue the sides so that this will also form a little pocket on the right side. So there we have our little pocket. Next, I wanted to add a tab on that little fold out thing. So I'm using my tab punch and I'm folding up a paper, and now when I'm punching, I don't punch all the way to the end of the paper, but I leave the gap at the top so that it doesn't punch the top. So that way I have a double tab, and after inking it up, I'm just going to glue that sort of in the middle of that pull out. Just used my glue stick for that one. So now we have a cute little tab that will facilitate the pulling of that part. Next, we are making a little flip down and pocket on the left tuck spot. So I'm just taking a scrap I had left, which is a little smaller than the width of the left hand side. And I folded it in half, and then I decided to cut the back part off also approximately ½ an inch so that it will be shorter for the pocket. And then we have the flip down. And I wanted to make a notch with my envelope punch board. If you don't have that, you can also use maybe a circle punch. And after inking that up, I'm going to glue that down like a pocket. So again, just gluing the 3 sides. So we have another pocket there. And I'm also adding another tab on that one. And this time my punch kind of didn't want to work, but it was no problem. I was able to cut it with my scissors. And now I'm gonna do the same thing, just inking it up and adding that there. And that flips down like that. So that is the construction of the little envelope booklet. And the next step is going to be the more fun one, which is the actual decoration and all the stuff we're gonna put inside to make it really nice and bulky for a journal. There's another envelope edge that was coming apart, no problem. Alrighty, we are ready to start with the ephemera. So these are my printouts of, it's a download that is called 100 vintage ephemera pieces, I believe. I will link that down below. Please be aware that the Digital Collage Club is like a membership based site, so you pay an annual fee and then you can download as much as you want. This is in no way sponsored by them, but I love their digital downloads. They have new ones all the time and they are just fantastic. So check them out. It's definitely worth it. So these are some downloads from that one. I think you really get 100 different images just with that one download, which is insane. And so some of these I printed on my beige cardstock. Some of them I printed on regular like copy paper, but coffee dyed, and then glued it onto the cardstock. So now I am, and I also adjusted the sizes. So some I made smaller, some I made, yeah, I think I made pretty much all of them smaller, not bigger. So the 3 little girls that I cut out are 3 little tags that I put in that tiny pocket. And here you see I'm just filling up some of the other pockets. So basically this is fashion throughout several decades. It's a mix of various styles. Just making sure I put something in every pocket. I think there might be 9 pockets if I'm not mistaken, so that's a lot. So this one I decided to glue on the front of that flip out. You could also make that into a pocket by not gluing it on completely, but I figured 9 pockets is enough and it's already bulky enough. And then I wanted to add some writing to it, and I decided this time to print something on my computer. And I was searching in the internet for some insight to fashion and what people think about fashion, what it means to them. And I picked out some quotes, and I will link that website below as well because I think it's interesting. These are quotes from like editors and directors of magazines and people like that. And I just printed out the ones that I enjoyed, and I have printed them out in a way that they would fit the spots I want to put them on. So let me read you the ones that I printed. So the first small one that's on that flip out says, "The purpose of fashion is to make you feel alive and present." Then the next smaller one on that flip down inside is, "Fashion is a form of expression without the use of words. It's a way of syncing the internal with the external." I really like that. And the one I'm adding right here, I just thought the page was too plain, so I wanted to add some lace there. So that's what I'm doing there. And that quote reads, "When you see something you love, it's like finding something special that you've lost, and then you find a way to make it your own. And once it is, you're just a little bit more yourself than you were before you found it, collecting beautiful little pieces of yourself over time." I think that's just beautiful. And then lastly, the one we're going to put on the other side of this little flip out says, "Fashion is about storytelling through clothing. It's about stories behind them and the ones you create around them. We use fashion to escape the mundane, to embrace and celebrate tradition. It's about a sense of history and pride and it embodies a greater sense of purpose than just a garment tossed on to cover bodies. So also a great quote. So that's what's gonna go on this one. And I totally messed up with making that fold, because that fold shouldn't have been in the middle, but I was able to cut some of the left side off to sort of fit. And now I have this stamp. I got this at a craft fair, and I'm showing you this. I was not able to find this in the internet. I'm so sorry. It's French. It's a beautiful lacy kind of border, and I thought, because this folder was already getting so bulky, I thought maybe I would just stamp on some lace instead. And it's not great how it turned out, but yeah, it's okay. There you see. The stamp is absolutely gorgeous, but I just didn't do a great job on it. So then I have this stamp set, which I did find from a UK seller, I think directly from Ryher. It's a website that I found in the UK, and I will link this stamp below as well. I got this at a craft fair as well, and I thought I would use that one there, which looks like it's from part of a sewing pattern. So I thought I would add that to the top there, just to add a little bit more interest. I'm not sure I like how that one turned out, but oh well. So that's what that looks like. I guess it adds a little bit of interest. Next, I'm using my roller stamp to stamp the words handmade, and that was something I wanted to go on that right tab that we have there, and I didn't trust myself to stamp it directly on the tab, so I stamped it on a scrap piece of coffee dyed paper, and I'm going to cut that out and ink it up, of course, and then I'm going to glue that right onto the tab, because I'm assuming that all of these garments were handmade by someone. And now this is my ticket booth stamp from Tim Holtz. I do have that one linked down below from Amazon, and these are great for also just using partially. So this one I'm using, I just wanted the number, and so that's what I'm going to cut out, and that is what is going to go on the other tab. So there's that. Doesn't have any meaning, but it's just beautiful in my eyes anyway. So the next two pockets I wanted to decorate were the ones on the left side, and I did have this printout already matted on my cardstock. This is again from the from that download. And then I wanted to add this measuring tape from that stamp set onto the tuck spot on the top right there. And rather than stamping it on the pocket, which I'm sure I would have messed up, I thought I would do it the safe way and again stamp it on a scrap piece and then cut it out and see how that would fit, or if that would fit. And it was perfect actually, and so I inked it up and glued it down. So checking if there's anything else I need to add. I thought about adding something behind those girls, but I thought it would be too much, too busy. But I did want to add a little bit something there on that first pocket. So I went back to my lace, and I'm trying to choose one of two different ones. So it was either going to be this white one, or it was going to be this cream one. And that was a hard decision, but I went with the white one. So I'm just cutting off this ragged edge, and I'm using my 3-in-1 glue to just glue that right along the edge of the tuck spot. So our little booklet is done, and I really love how it turned out. It's so vintagey. Now we have to figure out how to add it to my journal. So I chose this page because I think it works really well with the page on the right with that little figurine there. And I already chose this one. This is again from that same digital kit as a background, and I already cut it to the size that I needed to be for my page. And then I thought, how am I going to keep the booklet shut, because it is so bulky that it just keeps opening. So I thought I would use this tiny piece of, or delicate piece of lace to then just tie around it to keep it closed. So I am just gluing that over the whole page, inked the edges up first, and I didn't like that white edge, so I decided to ink that up as well with my vintage photo, and I did a horrible job on that. And I'm also inking up all the edges around the pages where the white was showing from underneath. So now I tied up the little booklet, but I also wanted the booklet to be another tuck spot because I had another printout to put in there, which is this one. And I thought, is that going to work with the tie, or is the tie, the string in the back, or the lace in the back going to interfere with my putting something in the tuck spot? But by putting it just a little farther down, it was fine. So I'm using the glue to attach first the ribbon onto the card, and then I am just gluing the left and the bottom side. So this book, the whole booklet is a tuck spot, and I'm adding these just to make sure that it sticks well while it's drying. And then I'm using this printout, which is again from the same kit, and I'm going to fold it in 3, just like the lines are showing me of the printout. And I'm inking up all the edges, front, back, and the creases. And you could rough it up some more to give it a more vintage look, but I was okay with this actually. You could do some more journaling in the back if you wished. And I am putting that in my tuck spot. So this is a very bulky page. Please be aware of that if you're going to do this for your journal. And this journal now has become so bulky because I've done a few of these pocket things now. So here I'm just showing you again, just in case you forgot what this flip out looks like and all the little pockets. Let's close that up again. Yeah, and since my journal has become so bulky now, I decided it was time to check which full pages I haven't used at all yet, and I'm pulling all of those out because this journal is going to get crazy bulky, and I wanted to at least control the damage as much as I could. So I'm just pulling these out, and it's fine because I can use them in the next journal. It's not like I am throwing them away or anything. I'm just moving them to another journal eventually. So this is what's left. It is still crazy bulky, and I still have so many pages in here to do. So I need to do something flat, which is such a challenge for me because I like adding all of these pockets and tuck spots and folds out and what have you. So these are the 6 pages that I have pulled out, which is really good because that saves me, so 4 spreads per page. So that means 24 spreads that I'm not gonna do, which seems crazy. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you try one of these envelope flip out thingies. I had so much fun with it, and maybe you can find other varieties. There's tons of things you can do with envelopes. And hope to see you back next time. And if you enjoyed this, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so, to see some more of my videos. Take care and thank you. Bye bye.